Oop, a little bit off. There, hopefully that works. So slight change of scenery today. I am actually on my porch, and I'm really hoping that the barn swallows, which decided to nest on my porch yet again, don't dive bomb me. But I don't know if it's going to rain or not, so I thought at least this way I was vaguely covered if it did decide to rain. So let's see, today is all about lace knitting, and I love lace knitting. I mean, I love almost every form of knitting. The only one, I'm not a huge fan of brioche. I don't know, it's just not quite my thing. But I love lace, I love cables, I love color work, I love socks, I love sweaters, I love shawls, I love knitting. And lace knitting actually happens to be one of my favorites. It's one of the things that I kind of used to define my career as a pattern writer early on. After I did the whole sock book, then I was like, I'm gonna do lace because I love lace. And now I feel like I should do a book on cables or a book of cable patterns, something like that. But I really love lace, so today is all about lace. And hi Cheryl, hi Tamara, nice to see you both. Yeah, so today we are going to be talking lace knitting, but before we get into my pile here, I do want to remind you all that the Slow Yarn Crawl has started, and look, I actually have a 2021 passport now because Tina shipped me some, and I actually sold the other 9 that I had. This is the only one I have left, and I probably could have sold this one too, but I wanted to hold on to just one copy. I think Slow Crawl's going really well. It's going to be really popular this year. Yeah, and I sold these at the Hoosier Hills Fiber Festival in Indiana. I sold like half of them there, and then the rest of them I shipped out to online orders. So, yeah, this guy, Slow Yarn Crawl, 32 shops, couch crawl option, free patterns at all the shops. So, just throwing that out there. Slow Crawl, it's here. And then I also wanted to remind everybody that we are in for our year of self-care. So June is about crafting in the sun, finding a spot to relax in the sun and enjoy your crafting. And I said that I was going to be crafting on my deck and my porch. So now you've come to my porch. This is part of it. I'll show you the other side with the plants before we finish today. One of my Thanksgiving cacti actually decided that it was going to throw blooms because, oh, and it is starting to rain. I'm glad that I did this on the porch today. Yeah, because my, like we had a really weird spring-ish kind of thing, and we had some really low temperatures in May. So, my Thanksgiving cactus, not all of them, just the one, just the one cactus decided to throw out more blooms. So I'm going to show you buds randomly on a Christmas cactus. Well, technically it's a Thanksgiving cactus, but that's a whole other discussion. We could have that discussion one day. Anyway, just in like May and June. So I'm going to get extra flowers, which is always exciting. Anyway, so I do have true Christmas cactus. They're a different species. We call Thanksgiving cactus Christmas cactus all the time. Some people started calling them holiday cactus, whatever. Those are the ones that come in lots of different colors. True Christmas cactus, I think only come in pink, but I could be wrong about that. And then I have some Easter ones as well, because I happen to like them. They're pretty easy to keep and grow and propagate, so, you know. And my grandmother, I have my grandmother's plants that are who knows how old, but at least as old as I am, so they've been around a while. Anyway, I'll show you all my plants on the deck, or on the porch before we log off today. So yeah, just wanted to remind you that your self-care is still going on, and I had no entries last month, so, you know, you could enter this month, and I may only have 1 entry, and you could win, just like that. So make sure that you're posting to whatever social media makes you happy for Black Sheep's Year of Self-Care, so that you can, you know, enter the contest. Let's see. Oh, and then next month is all about Christmas for you. So I say in December we focus our talents on those around us, but right now it's time to celebrate Christmas in July for you. So you're supposed to buy or make a special craft-related item that you've been wanting to, and wrap it up. And I was originally going to make the sweater, which I already made. So I suppose, with my hand spun, I suppose I could wrap it up and give it to myself. But I'm kind of thinking maybe I will get out the Sashiko kit, one of them, and maybe when we're doing our sewing days, I will stitch that, and then I will have another lovely thing to give myself. So, contemplating that. I know. Oh, I see Tamara. Yeah. Yes, there is a way to tell them all apart by leaf shape, and I will show you when we're done with this. Okay, so I love lace. Like, I love lace. I adore lace. I have knit so many lace things. I was looking for Elroy, which I finished last year, but couldn't manage to find it. Oh, and I forgot. So as part of my whole like crafting in the sun on my deck and on my porch, I said that I was going to go through some bags and finish things. Yes. And this is one thing that I want to finish this month. I started this way back last fall. I have it all set up because I was going to stitch on it when I'm done here. But I want to get this finished. I want to finish this so that I can pick out another embroidery. So I'm going to be working on this for sure, so that I can get it out of my little, I decided this was my embroidery bag, so I have all my embroidery stuff in here. And then I also started this really fun shawl, and since we're talking about lace, I thought I'd get it out. Because it's not exactly, like, it's not a surprise, it's not a secret. But I started this really fun shawl in 2 colors, but Lilliput, and it does incorporate lace. So I have kind of some slip stitching to get more gray in, and then I have lace on the bias, which I thought was kind of fun. And, you know, I've been working on it since, I don't know, early last spring. And I love this. I don't know, like I stopped working on it because I had all these other projects I had to get done. So I decided that this is something I want to finish. So this is on my list of things to get done. And then maybe we can have a knit along with some Lilliput or some other fingering yarn, like maybe the Ryeberry would be really fun, 2 colors of Ryeberry. I don't know. So my goal is to get this done and get the pattern written up so that we can, you know, like maybe make it. So yeah, anyway, there's 2 of the project bags that I want to revisit and finish this month. So I'm gonna set those down here out of my way. That way I can talk to you about the rest of our stuff. And hi, Angelus! I saw that you're on here as well again. So I love lace. I adore lace. I have made a ton of lace. Way back before I started designing, I collected Estonian lace patterns. This happens to be an Estonian lace shawl. Lots of noops. I love making noops. I have tips for making noops. I think I've talked about noops in the past, but I love lace. If this one isn't my wedding shawl, this one might not be my wedding shawl. I have 2 of these in this silk. This one's 100% silk. Lovely and lightweight. But I made one for my wedding in this lace, or in this yarn, because I just loved it. I actually got 2 shawls out of this cake because it was such, I mean, because lace, you know, they're usually like 800 to 1,000 yards in a skein. It's a lot of yarn to make things with. So you can get 2 good-sized triangular shawls out of most of them. And then this whole sweet little scarf. This is one of my favorites. I don't know, I love the color and I love the lightness of it. And I love lace. I just love lace. In fact, I love lace so much, I wrote an entire book about lace. So this is my book, Froth and Foam, which you can order from the website. I also sell it in an ebook, which again, you can get on the website. And in this, I have, how many do I have? 17? 17 patterns. 17 lace patterns that range from simple to difficult. And I rank them in the front because as an author and a teacher, I think it's really important to know like which ones are the easiest to work in a book. I don't think a lot of designers do that, but it's really important to me And you may disagree with my ranking, and I'm sure you could flip-flop a few of them, but for the most part, I think I'm pretty accurate on how difficult it is to work each one. But I have some very simple ones up to very difficult ones. And I talk about techniques that are used, some of my tips and tricks for lace, the power of blocking, which we'll have to block again this summer because it's really fun. And oh, thanks, Cheryl. Yeah, I love all of my shawls. Love my lace shawls. But I have all kinds of really fun patterns. So you get 17 patterns in one book, and like I said, you can either do the PDF copy or you can get a print copy. This one's one of my most popular, the Perrette right there. So I really love lace, and in fact I developed 2 different classes on basic and intermediate lace, and I did 2 books, so you can get booklets as well, PDF booklets or print copies from our blacksheepfiberemporium.com website. So, you know, if you bought the book and you bought the booklets to go with it, you'd be good to go. But I use these as teaching aids in my classes because I have lots of things in here. Like I have a little section of tips and tricks and what I put in my toolkit, and I do techniques and a little bit of history and some traditions, and then abbreviations, needles, deciding on fiber, how to measure gauge, what makes lace, some good lace cast-ons and bind-offs, cast-ons and fiber, cast-ons and shape, how to read a basic stitch chart, lifelines, joining, wet blocking, steam blocking, and steps for both. So I really tried to lay this out so that I had a pretty comprehensive way to do that. Oh yeah, Cheryl, so you can either order, you can grab the PDF if you want the PDF, or you can also order the print copy through the website. If you search Froth and Foam on blacksheepfiberemporium.com, it'll pop right up. Even if you put in just froth, it'll come up, F-R-O-T-H. Anyway, oh, and I really like writing booklets for all my classes. So when I teach, I at least write some really nice handouts, but usually I write booklets for my classes. And this is one that I wrote about Angora rabbits, because you can make some beautiful lace from Angora wool as well. But this is what I do. When I teach, I make booklets, and then I turn them into things that I can sell to you guys so that you can get my knowledge even if you can't take my class. So my deepest love is probably for Estonian lace. It's my favorite. That's where we have our beautiful noosh. So that would be the little tiny baubles. There's a line right here. Little tiny baubles of yarn. That's one of my favorites. I own, I think, all of the books published by Sara Kojastis, and I hope I said that right. And like, this is one of them. This one, we actually carry these in our shop too, because I love lace, so I made sure that when Tina and I partnered that we got the books from Estonia, because I love lace, and I love Estonian lace especially. So I bought the books, we have them for sale, I have the whole collection in my library, because I love Estonian lace. I love Estonian lace, and I love looking at them because these books are big and beautiful, and they have really big photos and big charts, which makes it fabulous. And big pretty pictures, So anyway, I love Estonian lace. I love Estonian lace. So I was looking through my collection of books, and I haven't really had the time to go through this one yet. This is the Siri Routed 2, and I probably butchered that, so I apologize. If you're from Estonia and you see this, I'm really sorry that I didn't say it right. But I found 2 patterns that I really love that I think I can use together to build from one another. So I can start with one pattern and then have kind of a transition pattern and then move it into the second pattern. And I don't do that a lot. Usually I don't do transition patterns because I like the break. I like having distinct different patterns. I don't necessarily want one to merge into the other. But I kind of looked at these 2 different patterns and I thought, yeah, you know, this could work. So I know that last month I didn't get around to designing the lace shawl like I said I did. But this month, now that I'm through Hoosier Hills and now that the Slow Yarn Crawl has started, I have my yarn wound. I have some patterns in mind. And the biggest thing is deciding the shape and the balance of my shawl. So this one happens to be all triangular. These are all triangular shawls, but I don't want to make a triangular shawl. I like exploring shapes. And I love knitting shawls sideways so that you don't work with giant rows. And there's one of them. Here's the other one. I'm trying to find the two that I really loved that I want to show you guys. And this is just the same. These books are gorgeous. They're big and beautiful charts, big, beautiful photos. I mean, honestly, they're the kind of books that you can put out on your coffee table and show guests and be proud of them. They're gorgeous books, right? So, not seeing your book, I see the smaller ones. Oh, well, Cheryl, when I'm finished, I'll double check and make sure that there are copies available. It could be that our inventory's gone there. It's not. I have plenty. Don't worry. But I'll make sure that it's up there. Thanks for telling me. I'll take a look. And I'll throw the link in the comments on this video so that you guys can find them. I'll try to link several of these out when I'm finished today so that you can find these things I'm talking about. But anyway, here's one of the patterns that I loved. This one. And this one, what I love is it's flowers. So there's like these tulipy flowers. And I love the big leaves, and I love the sort of tulip looking head. And then I love this one. And I think that I can kind of merge the two together, maybe, and sort of do a transitional, anyway, I have this idea in my head, which is good, because my creativity has not been great as of late. I've been doing all the Slow Yarn Crawl stuff, and I've had Ina, and I've had the rabbits, and I've had the garden, and I just I don't have much creative space in my head right now. But today when I sat down, I was really starting to feel creative, so maybe I can pull together a new design in this gorgeous lace. This is the 100% silk handmaiden, and maybe we could do a knit along with this one too. I don't know. What do you think? Would you be interested in doing like a lace knit along with me on the bigger fingering weight and on the finer lace weight? I don't know. This one will probably be later into the fall before I get the pattern done. But what do you think? Would that be fun? I think it would be fun. I don't know. Maybe, sort of, maybe. Let's see. I also wanted to talk about needles. So we have lots of needles. Tina's favorite are the ChiaoGoo's, and I have to say I do love this. Let's see. This is the Red Twist mini set, I think. These are the really fine needles. I have like 000 up to 1.5. So these are the skinny needles. But I love having these. And if you are looking for ChiaoGoo and you're looking for a set, we can get those for you. That's a nice little crackle of thunder, right? My favorites are the Hayahayas or the signatures, which I have in this case. And I've had the Hayahaya Sharps for a long time, and we can get these for you as well if you're looking for Hayahayas. I don't think they're listed on the website, but if you pop us an email, we can totally get them. And I love the signatures. I use the signatures a lot for lace, and probably not the ones. I think that these are 3s. Yeah, so I use 3, 4, and 5 for the most part with my lace, from the fine lace weight up to fingering. So usually 3s for the finer lace weight, and then 4s and 5s for my heavier fingering weight. So, you know, just thought I'd mention, those are some of my favorites. Everybody's a little bit different in how they knit. Some people knit better on bamboo or hardwood. Some people knit better on plastics. Some people are better on straights versus circulars or interchangeables. It really depends on what works best for you, but I just love steel needles, and I love my interchangeables. I love my signatures, and those are what work best for me. So if you haven't tried other needles, or if you're really frustrated with your knitting, try swapping your needle or swapping your yarn. Life is too short to knit with bad yarn or yarn that you don't enjoy. So just don't. Like, just don't do it. This is another thing. So I also pulled this because this is, let's see, it's the sea silk. It's 70/30 silk and sea cell. And I really need to make some samples of some of my patterns again, because I don't have them anymore, or they're all out at Tina's, and so I don't have them. So I was really tempted to take this guy and remake one of my patterns, and I was kind of thinking maybe I would do, let's see if I can find it, the water lilies, which I think is in this. Yep, the water lily scarf, because this is another Estonian one that's really fun. It's very challenging, but I love this one. It's been a long time since I made it, and I'd kind of like to have another sample that looks a little different than this one, because this was a gradient yarn. So I don't know, like, I have all these ideas. We'll see what actually, you know, comes to fruition, right? But this is kind of my, like, this is me in the planning stage. This is how I work. I gather inspiration in a lot of ways. Sometimes it's from conversations. I love going to museums and looking at other people's art, especially older historical art. I draw a lot of inspiration from that. And it's been hard, of course, with the pandemic, because we couldn't really go anywhere. And, you know, online stuff is only so good. I love old knitting patterns. I love, like, TV shows, like, set in different time periods, because that always gives me, like, a ton of ideas. I love, yeah, you know, it's all kinds of fun stuff. Sometimes I see things in knitting, like the noops in our knitting here remind me a ton of these, like, fill stitches in the Mediterranean knotted lace that I've been looking at. And it's interesting how people take kind of the same idea but translate it differently across all these different mediums. So, you know, that's kind of inspiring for me. But this is sort of my creative process. As I go and I start looking through my yarn, I look through my books, I grab needles, I start coming up with ideas. I use Entwined, but that program is kind of old, kind of getting outdated, and it doesn't really have a lot of support anymore. So I need to shop around for a new charting software. And then I used to use the Adobe InDesign products, but I've switched to the Affinity Publisher and the Affinity Suite. So I actually have Affinity Photo and Affinity Publisher. But I use Inkscape for my vector graphics, not the Affinity Designer. So I'm sure Affinity Designer is great. It's just, I had Inkscape and I had already taught myself how to use it to make tatting diagrams. So that's what I tend to use when I need to make, like, a sweater diagram or a shawl shape diagram or whatever. So anyway, that's kind of all, this is all part of my process. I'll pull up, you know, ideas, I'll throw, you know, a bunch of tabs up on my computer, I'll dig out old knitting patterns, I will, sometimes I'll be inspired by nature, so it just really depends. But anyway, that is a little bit of my design process and a little bit about lace making. And then I see Tamara made a comment. You got a custom bag for all your tiny circulars and your double pointed needles. Yes, it's really nice to have your needles so collected together. This is honestly most of my needle collection. I do have one roll for my Haya Haya double pointed needles that I made myself. Just a very simple one. So that's, I used to carry that around all the time with my one bag of Haya Hayas, and that was most of my needles. But I did add the circulars and I did add the little Chaogu twist set. And then I also have most of the signature double pointed needles. I slowly kind of added those over the last few years. And those are all in tubes, but I keep them all kind of in, I have, Yeah, so I bought like a rolling suitcase, a little itty bitty, like makeup rolling suitcase kind of thing. I think it's a Samsonite, that I keep like all of my needles and notions and things in if I can, because, you know, if my house ever burns down, I can grab that and go. I know, right? Whatever, I think about these things. I don't want to lose all my knitting stuff. Anyway, so that's kind of part of my design process and what I love about Estonian Lace and these glorious books, which again we carry at Black Sheep Fiber Emporium. I'll throw the links up when I'm done talking today, and just a comment on this. But I have, and I will make sure that I put up a link for my book, and maybe I'll put up a link for our handmaiden silk as well, because it is lovely stuff. So if you haven't checked that out yet, you ought to. Anyway, before I sign off, I want to show you all of my plants. I have so many plants. I'm trying to clear this out so that I can walk and get out of my little space here, and I can show you all of my plants. I have a lot of plants, and they all come in during the winter. So hang on. All right. So here's my plants, and I have a lot of flies right now because it's summer and I have rabbits and I don't know. So this one and this one are a Thanksgiving cactus because they have pointy clades. This one and these guys, oh, I need to water these. These are Christmas cacti because they have rounded clades. And also, I don't know what's going on with that one. It's kind of weird that they're curling. Usually they don't do that. Yeah, they might have gotten too much sun one day. I don't know. Anyhow, and then this one down here, this is the Easter cactus, and you can tell that this one's an Easter cactus because it has hairy clades. So that's the difference. You have pointy clades, hang on. Pointy clades right here. We have smooth clades right here. And then we have the hairy ones, hairy clades over here. So, and then this one's also Thanksgiving. And here, look at this guy. Decided that it was gonna throw out buds for me. So crazy. And it's June. They never anyway, yeah, they never bloom in June. And here I have a seed pod. I tried some crossbreeding here. So I'm waiting for that one to ripen. Oh, look, I do, and I have another one right here. Another bloom. It really did get very chilly for several nights here, so I don't blame it. And then anyway, I have a ton of aloes because I started with one plant and so I had a whole bunch of them. And that one I need to repot, and that one I need to repot and split. But I just haven't gotten it all done yet. And then I have a few orchids, which also probably need to be repotted. And then I have some of this stuff, which is, starts with a Z. I can't think of what it's called exactly. And then I have some geraniums. And then these are my snail vines. This is a new adventure for me. And then I have a dead bonsai tree because, well, I accidentally killed it. But that happens. And then more of that viney stuff and some geraniums. So yeah, I have all kinds of plants out here on the deck too. Or on the porch, just like I have on the deck. I have tons of plants. I never thought that I would be a plant lady. I'm a plant lady. I'm totally a plant lady. I'm totally a plant lady. Anyway. So, all right. Let's see. What are we doing? Spinning. Wednesday we do spinning, and I'm going to get started on that roving that we split the last time that I had spinning. And I may have other stuff to show you, but we will at least get started on the spinning, and we'll talk about that for 3-ply spinning. And then, let's see. What else do we have? I have more Mediterranean knotted lace and more tatting coming up. And then I also have more weaving, more sewing, and at some point here soon, we're going to take a little walk through my garden so you can see all the things that are growing. And yes, there are lots of weeds because life happens, and I do not have like a showcase garden. I have a working garden. as I like to think of it. Anyway, so until next time, do please take care of yourselves mentally, physically, emotionally, craftually, as I like to say. Make sure that you're crafting a little bit every day. Don't forget about the Slow Yarn Crawl. Remember, it goes all the way through September. Free patterns, entries for prizes, all kinds of fun stuff. 32 shops participating. It's a lot of shops. And then don't forget our Black Sheep Year of Self-Care. Remember, I have like, I honestly, I have like no entries this month again. So, you know, please post, tell your friends about it, get them involved, because I like giving away prizes. It's kind of fun. So yeah, tell your friends. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Facebook page, channel, whatever. The Instagram channel, the TikTok channel. I'm trying to post there again, at least a little bit. And yeah, just take care of yourselves. Be safe. Just be safe. And I will see you on Wednesday. So, bye guys.